Morning, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, September 6, 2022, here in awesome Tecolote Canyon here in San Diego. Today I want to present a Spotlight on Plants video. Today's Spotlight video is on a plant that I have touched upon on a multi-species short spotlight video I did a few years ago, and today I want to focus on this plant right here. This is western ragweed, Ambrosia psilostachya. Ambrosia psilostachya is a colony forming perennial herbaceous plant in the sunflower family, the Asteraceae, and is locally common to quite abundant in these canyon locations. You see here, especially on the edges of woodlands, sometimes on the edges of meadows, disturbed areas, sometimes by fences and other sites, and sometimes at the edge of riparian areas. So western ragweed is exactly what the name implies. It's a ragweed, and the genus Ambrosia is known for several species of it. So for people who suffer late summer and fall pollen allergies, this plant is one of the ones that causes it, unfortunately, but it's not the only one. There are plenty of other plants that bloom in the late summer and fall that produce this, and so I don't want to spend my video focusing on the negative aspects. I actually want to focus more on the ecological, and I want to focus on a lot of the positive aspects of this plant. So Ambrosia psilostachya is known for these deeply lobed leaves that you can see here. They're very deeply lobed, and they're pleasantly aromatic when you rub them. So if you rub a leaf, it has a little bit of an aroma. So it kind of has a little bit of a relationship to sagebrushes and everything in the genus Artemisia. I believe it's in the same tribe of the sunflower family. I'm not so familiar with the deeper classification of it, but honestly, for a lot of people, we're going to consider this a very plain looking weed. So I want to branch away from that. Connotation of this plant, as it may be considered weedy in the sense that it is very rampant and it forms these very large colonies, probably from a single root system. I imagine this is probably all one root system here, but I want to shine some attention on some more of the positive aspects of this plant. Besides it has a nice fragrance. It does have a very pleasing grayish green color to it. It's a perennial, so it'll come back every year. It might die back to the roots during a short period of time during the winter months, but honestly, it's a pretty tough, hardy, very resilient plant that, if you don't suffer from hay fever, might actually honestly make an interesting garden accent. If you have a part of your yard that is maybe filled with some large shrubs and some trees, kind of like a woodland aesthetic, I think western ragweed to me would be kind of a nice accent plant, because it just, where a lot of the ground is brown and dry, this provides a nice color of green during the dry summer months here in Southern California. I believe it has quite a wide distribution here in the continent of North America. I will post a little more specifics about that, but where I've been here in low elevation Southern California, it's very common very widespread, and I've been blessed to come across it on many, many occasions. I think it's a really nice looking plant because it's quite verdant. I like the erect form. I do like the form of the plant, and I just like that it provides a nice shade of green in areas that might be quite dry this time of year. So now we're going to be talking about the inflorescence of the plant. So you see here, we're talking about how the leaves are lobed. The leaves are generally oppositely arranged. As you see here, they're opposite each other on the stem, and then we get these little inflorescences at the top, and this is what causes the pollen of the plant. So these have discoid flowers. They're not they don't have ray florets like a lot of sunflower family plants. So you see these yellow things are the little disc florets of the western ragweed on these erect racemes that kind of stick up. And the plant is usually not super intricately branched. Usually they're quite upright, maybe a little bit of small branching here and there. As you can see, sometimes it forms more of a panicle. You can see here it forms a more complex inflorescence here. So this is more like a panicle inflorescence. Some of them are more like spikes, and some of them are more like conical racemes. So this is the time of year when they're blooming into mid-fall. So this is probably when people start suffering the allergies, the hay fever aspect. But there are several other plants that are also in the sunflower family that cause this. I believe even sagebrush might, some people might be allergic to sagebrush pollen. But again, I want to focus more on just the very tenacious habit of this plant. Again, since this is a spotlight video, you can be sure that this is not an invasive species. This is a native plant important to our woodland and riparian communities. So it does provide forage for some animals, albeit the essential oils of it probably make it a little less tasteful to a lot of herbivores, as a lot of these aromatic plants that we have growing here, the aroma might be pleasing to us humans and sometimes maybe some other animals, but they really don't make it tasteful for a lot of animals to eat the leaves. Some of these plants, their essential oils actually make them taste unpleasant to a lot of wildlife. But I believe smaller animals will probably pick out the seeds. The seeds probably sought out by birds and smaller animals, I would imagine. But it does provide cover for lizards and snakes and other small animals. So it provides kind of some safe habitat, and also produces some stability in the soil, because again, we're talking about a large colony. All this is probably from one root system, as I was mentioning before, so it is pretty good for soil stability, especially at the edges of these woodlands. So western ragweed, it's more than just a weed that people suffer allergies from in the late summer and the fall months. It is actually a plant that does have some benefits. Again, provides habitat for animals and soil stability, and it's just a pleasant plant to look at if you can get past the negative connotations that come up as a result of the pollen of the plant. Coming up on another small population here. So of course, you know me, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to admire it and love it and think it's beautiful. And that's just what I do. But it's because there are things to appreciate about this plant. So again, this is Ambrosia psilostachya, the western ragweed. here in Tecolote Canyon of San Diego. Widespread perennial, beautiful plant. Again, don't be surprised if it looks like it's dying during the winter. It might be dying back to its root, and in the spring new shoots will come out from the roots, so don't be alarmed if you do decide to grow this plant. Again, Ambrosia psilostachya, western ragweed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next spotlight video, and I hope it does give the average person a little more of an appreciation for it, and I'll see you next time.